It's Sunday, March 4th, and I have stuff that happens, and not so much stuff actually really happens. Okay, so, what do? Yesterday, yesterday evening, I went out to hang out with some friends. It was great. I got to hang out with Eric. I'm kind of sad the other people couldn't make it, but I don't want him to think I don't like hanging out with him. And I got to see Ralph some. That was fun. And what did we do? We played some board games, watched a movie. It was fun. Mostly a positive experience. Actually, I can't think of anything particularly negative. Except perhaps that some of the people I was expecting didn't get to make it because of last minute changes. And before that day, my mother's still doing her flea market thing, and I'm still helping with it. She pays me a little bit to help her out with it because it's a step up from being given money. So I'm gonna just run with it for now. She technically still owes me a check for that yesterday, but it'll work out. I hope. I've got to double check my bank balance and everything else, and it's a mess, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to get together the money to go to the GLEX conference that's in May in the DC area, and I thought I had the money for a little while, and then I had to pay for my AIAA membership, which I was expecting to get 1 year for free, and it was a mess. It might just be as simple as I waited too long to initiate the process, because it took longer than I expected. It might be something else, but I was trying to figure out how to get that done, and I don't think I qualified. I wasn't getting a response when I was emailing people to try to ask, and it wasn't something you could just sign up for. At least, not where I could find it. So I ended up having to pay for that. So, I'm not sure. I got a check from my mother to help out with that sum, which was very nice of her, because I was having a very bad night. But it's big. Life is big and ugly and not going well. But I'm trying to fix it. I'm trying to work hard. I'm sort of continuing to look for work, but I'm also starting to try to look for grants, because I've said on many occasions, why don't I just start my own company? And I have an interest in some of the things that I think get grant money. I remember water treatment was one of them. So I was trying to find grants for that. I don't know if I'll find any. I kind of got little nibbling hints that such grants do exist, but I couldn't find them by name yet. I couldn't find out too much about them, and I found one government agency that gives out those kinds of grants, but I don't want to put it in my YouTube video because I don't want to create more competition for myself. If you want to know, go look it up. I had to. And where am I going with this? Oh yeah, just that I'm trying not to sit idle. I'm not sure if I mentioned it in my most recent video, whose date I can't even remember, but I've started going through the MATLAB tutorial things again. It's not so much that I don't know what's in the videos as I don't know all the details that are in the videos. I was talking to some of my friends about MATLAB recently, and I said, you know the slash that you use for inversion? You know, traditionally it's used for division, but in MATLAB it specifically means inversion. And they were like, well, I know it's division. It's like, oh, it's actually how you invert matrices using MATLAB. And the tutorial I was watching was talking about how you use the slash to invert rather than the inversion command, because then MATLAB is pre-programmed to use the best inversion technique so that you have the fastest processing. It's a big, a bunch of really technical details that are important to people like me, because numerical analysis, the amount of time it takes your computer to run your code is frequently the determining limit for how quickly you are able to work. It is not unusual for some of my more computer savvy professors to come to class and say, okay, I set up my computer to run my code, I'm going to go check it in a couple of hours and see what it says. And if you can make your code run twice as fast by using a slightly different thing when you're typing it in, then instead of waiting 2 hours, you just have to wait until the end of class. I experienced a little bit of this when I was working with some of my code this past fall with the in-body problem, which I'm still working on a little bit. I've actually sort of taken up that torch a little bit again, maybe. I've been trying to work on it. This may or may not be a good idea, but it's my idea, so I'm going to do it. Nobody's paying me to do any different. I'm still trying to work on those papers, though, and I keep kicking myself about not making more and better progress with them. Sort of. Maybe. Why do I keep talking about them? Anyway, I'm working for those papers. I'm trying to get stuff done. I'm still I'm looking for permanent work. But like I said, I think I'm starting to retrace old ground. I'm also trying to straighten up my apartment. Not apartment. Room. It just feels like an apartment. In the house where I'm living with my family. And I realized when I was going out with my friends that I didn't have the games that I thought I had just lying out. They're around here somewhere. I thought I knew where they were, and I don't. Which is a problem, because I have a place where I was keeping them and I don't see them. So, I'm going to straighten up a little bit. I washed some dishes earlier today. My family's constantly complaining about dirty dishes. Not that I use the mop, but I use a few of them. I don't use none of them, but I use a few of them. I tend to eat things like pizza, where you mess up one plate when you use it, when you eat it, because, you get the leftovers out, you warm them up, and then when you're done, you have one plate. If you wash the one plate, it's like you never used the dish at all. So, that has been my sort of little goal. And I've been trying to keep my ear to the ground on the sustainable living stuff that I've been hearing about. I am convinced that sustainable living and colonization of, like, the moon go hand in hand together, because you can't have unsustainable living on a place where you have nothing else to pull from. Well, a lot of people are trying to work it that way, and that's part of the problem, is disagreement about, oh, we can extract oxygen from the rocks, and you can do that to grow, but you still need to have ways to recover. Anyway, I see the non-sustainable things as a way of growing beyond your current size, and not as a means of, you eventually need a sustainable system. Anyway, I like sustainable systems a little bit. So, I'm working hard. I'm going to try to stay on the ball. And I'm trying really, really hard not to turn into some guy who just lives in his parents' basement making videos on YouTube. I started when I was in my apartment.